joining us shortly. In terms of staff that are with us this evening, we have our legislative assistants, Katie Campbell.
Hello.
Thank you. From planning, Thea Langell and Jess Harper.
Good evening. Thank you.
Good evening.
Welcome, Jess. And our solicitor for the evening is Megan Carlson.
Good evening.
Thank you very much. So now that we know that we're all on audio and visual, we'll call to order and do the land acknowledgement. The Halifax Regional Municipality is located in Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral and traditional lands of the Mi'kmaq people. The municipality acknowledges the peace and friendship treaties signed in this territory and recognizes that we are all treaty people. Next on our agenda is the approval of the minutes of September 25th, 2023. Is there someone that would like to make that motion, please?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Lovelace, a seconder.
I guess I better second.
Yes, so Councillor Oathead, thank you. Any errors or omissions in the minutes? If not, I would ask you the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Nay. Motion is carried. The approval of the order of business and approval of additions and deletions. Katie, are there any additions or deletions to our agenda?
There have been no additions or deletions from the clerk's office.
Thank you very much. Then I would ask for a mover and a seconder to accept the order of business.
I'll move it.
I'll
Thank you,
second.
Councillor Oathead. Thank you, Councillor Lovelace. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Next is our business arising out of the minutes. There are none. Declaration of conflict of interest. Are there any declarations of conflicts of interest? Hearing none, we'll move on. Motions of reconsideration, there are none. Motions of rescission, there are none. Consideration of deferred business, there is none. Notice of tabled matters, there are none. We do not have any hearings this evening. Correspondence, petitions, and delegations. Katie, do we have any correspondence received?
Correspondence has been received for item 14.2.1 and has been circulated to all members of the committee. And there have been no petitions received from the clerk's office.
Thank you very much. Then we would move on to public participation. Do we have anyone sign up for public participation this evening?
We had no one sign up for public participation.
Is there anyone that is on this that wishes to speak? Do we have any members of the public here?
There'll be no members of the public joining us tonight. There was a 4:30 p.m. deadline on October 13th to register.
Okay, thank you. Then
Dave wants
information
the night
items.
off, Madam Chair?
Yes, we're going to miss Mr. Reagan.
Yeah.
Information order items brought forward, there are none. Report staff. So item 14.1.1 is case 24193. Request for additional time to sign the approved development agreement for 57 Sanctuary Court in Fall River. So we have a motion. There is no presentation. Jess Harper, principal planner, is here to speak to any questions on our report. If someone would like to put the motion on the floor, then we can discuss.
I can
Madam
do that, Madam Chair. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, Madam Chair, do you want to do it if Pam takes the chair?
Well,
do you want
I
to
was
do it?
just going to ask our vice chair if you wouldn't mind assuming the chair, then I would be pleased to put the motion on. Thank you.
Excellent. Go ahead, Councillor Daigle-Gammon.
Thank you. I would move that the Northwest Community Council require that the development agreement for case 24193 be signed by the property owner within 360 days, which is an extension of an additional 120 days from the original 240 days, or any extension thereof granted by council on request of the property owner from the date of final approval of said agreement by council and any other bodies as necessary, including applicable appeal periods, whichever is later. Otherwise, this approval shall be void and any obligations arising hereunder shall be at an end.
I'll second.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Daigle-Gammon, did you want to speak to this?
Yes, very briefly. This extension is really a safety net in some ways. Thea Langell or Jess might be able to add to that comment. If there was a Murphy's Law that everything that could go wrong may have gone wrong. The reason for this extension is more systemic than it is anything that was from the property owner's issue. And so it's just to make sure that the property owner can get this development done in the time that they need it. So it is no fault of anyone, really, either planning or the developer, just a mishmash of issues that has happened.
And thank you so much. Councillor Elspeth, did you want to say anything to this item?
I'll find the support to councillor for the area.
Okay, excellent. Then I will call for the question.
Question.
All
Question?
those in favor, say aye.
Right.
That motion has carried. And Madam Chair, I will pass the chair back to you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Vice Chair. Our next item is members of Community Council, and the item is 14.2.1 from Councillor Lovelace, a functional plan for Hammonds Plains Road. Over to you, Councillor Lovelace.
Thank you so much. So I'm going to put the motion on the floor, and then I'm going to just add a little friendly amendment to it because I was reminded by the clerk's office that Northwest Community Council does not have the authority to direct the CAO. And so where I was taking a template motion from another motion, anyway, so I will read it as written and then amend. Thank you. I move that Northwest Community Council direct the Chief Administrative Officer to write a staff report outlining and prioritizing the steps needed to initiate the planning and consultation process to develop a functional plan for Hammonds Plains Road. The report should consider the following: 1, impact of Schedule J growth restrictions on developing a connected public road network. 2, the increase of population and traffic due to the large mixed use as of right developments. 3, previously promised connections to Murchison Drive, Eider Drive, Lucasville Road. 4, lack of power poles and lines for streetlight infrastructure on Hammonds Plains Road. 5, need to improve the wooden cross culverts and stormwater infrastructure, including stormwater easement on private property. 6, modernizing intersections and installing turn lanes for public transit and traffic flow. 7, implementing pedestrian safety infrastructure, including crosswalks, safer off-street transit stop, and connecting to Lucasville Greenway project. And 8, alignment with work already underway to resolve flooding at Blue Water Road and St. Margaret's Bay Road, as well as planned upgrades to Halifax water infrastructure, including the decommissioning of Uplands Park wastewater treatment facility. And the amendment I will make is that Northwest Community Council recommend that Halifax Regional Council direct the Chief Administrative Officer to write the report. So that is the amendment, and I look forward to a seconder.
I'm happy to second it, but I do have a quick question. While we don't direct the CAO per se, we could certainly request a staff report, and the staff report goes to the CAO, and the CAO decides who writes it. So I'm just wondering why we can't do this here, why it has to go to regional.
So that would be a question for our solicitor, according to the process for Northwest Community Councils.
Yeah, I mean, I've certainly requested staff reports before at the community council and never had any problem. And all staff reports go to the CAO for her to determine who's going to write it, he or her.
So we'll ask Megan if she would like to give us her opinion there.
Oh, I think you're
Megan, you're muted.
I would say I think both avenues are available. The charter does provide for the community council to provide a recommendation to council. If you'd like to seek a staff report to formulate that recommendation, that is an option, albeit a slightly less direct one. But I would say either avenue is available.
Okay,
so just my opinion, do we want to go through this debate and presentation and get it regional council, or can staff report just not put in I mean, we've certainly had staff reports before on lighting on Hammonds Plains Road and things such as that.
So sorry, Madam Chair. So that was my understanding as well, but the clerk's office came back and said community council does not have the powers, to direct the CAO to write a report. And because we need the report, if the solicitor can provide us with the correct wording, so this doesn't need to go to regional council and the work can just be done without debating this yet again at regional council. I too found this very confusing, Councillor Outfit. Because I know that we have asked staff to write reports before, so.
I would just leave the CAO out of it and just have the front of it saying request a staff report.
I will accept that friendly amendment.
Yeah.
If the seconder does.
So I can second it, but I do believe that we just may have a process issue here. There is the motion, and then there's the amendment. So
Oh,
do
wait,
we-
and then you want to amend an amendment. No, you're right.
exactly. So I just want to make
Well-
sure that we do this properly.
I just withdraw my amendment. That's all. I just withdraw my friendly amendment. That's
Okay.
That's not a problem.
So then I'll move an amendment to your motion, and that amendment being that we just amend this motion to say that we request a staff report.
And is the solicitor okay with that?
Yes.
So we were going to now then vote on the amendment, and then we will vote on the amended motion.
Yes.
May I speak to it first?
Sorry.
Yes, I just want to make sure, Council Lopez, that we have the process clear. So Megan, if you just want to let us know that that's exactly what we're going to be doing, that we're voting on the amendment. And then after that, then we vote on the amended motion.
It's a friendly amendment. We should.
I understand that, but just from good process, Megan, if you could clarify that, that would be great.
Yes, that's agreeable to me. So
Great. Thank you.
I moved a friendly amendment that we take out the CAO and just say request a staff report at the first of it, so that it was deemed friendly. So then we just have to vote once on the overall amendment. Is that what I'm, on the overall motion? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yep, just one vote.
Megan, would you weigh in on that, please?
well, I guess for the sake of procedural clarity, we could bifurcate it, yes, as the chair has suggested.
Okay, no, fair enough. We won't complicate it. We're actually trying to simplify things, believe it or not.
I know we're trying to simplify. I just want to make sure though that it's clear and that nothing comes back to us and says that we improperly did this, because I know the end result we want. I just want to make sure we get there cleanly.
You have my support, Chair. I understood.
Thank you. Katie, is there a way for you to write that in the chat, that amendment, please?
Yeah, I'm just trying to put it into the chat, but for some reason my paste isn't working, but I did send it to Megan, so maybe she can try to give it a paste.
Great.
Let's see if I can get it working.
Sorry for all this confusion.
No worries at all. I think it's great. It's making sure we're doing good process, right? And the advice that was given was that the direction is to regional council. So this is different.
I just don't understand that.
Great job.
You've asked for staff reports before many times, community
Yeah.
council over the years. I don't quite understand that. Now, if you specifically wanted to say direct the CAO, then maybe that had to go through regional council. But
Yeah.
requesting a staff report, we can do that every week, every
No.
month.
Yeah, no, you can't say direct to
Yeah.
the CEO.
That makes sense to me, but asking for a staff report, which will end up on her desks, is fine.
Yes, and so it just showcases how the authority is limited by the
Yep.
community council.
No, that's fine. We can work with that.
So we're just waiting for the case.
Yes, and Councillor Lovelace, if you would like to speak to that you had said. Oh, where are we at?
Okay. Yes,
Okay,
I would very happily like to speak to it.
Yes.
Thank you. So upon joining regional council, one of the first motions in my first couple of months was to request a report on how to budget and how to build, what kind of framework we could create for community connector roads. Well, what I didn't know back then was the fact that there had been, I knew that there were restrictions to creating roads, but I didn't understand the implications of trying to lift that Schedule J. And so after asking for the staff report on the community connector roads, and then asking for the staff report on the streetlights, as Councillor Outfit had asked about, and then asking for staff report on getting the understanding of how do we actually lift Schedule J, so we have the opportunity to have subdivision of land, and build public roads. And then it just became really clear that there wasn't any mechanism for staff to just go ahead and create a functional plan. And part of that is because Hammonds Plains Road is a control access highway. It's under Schedule J in the subdivision bylaw, which restricts new public roads. And it has significant deficiencies from an infrastructure perspective. As Councillor Outfit well knows, Blue Water Road floods a couple of times, Hammonds Plains at St. Margaret's Bay floods a couple of times a year. And it's just all of this has been growing and getting worse because of the immense development that's happening in District 13. But also because, people are using Google apps, right? They're using transportation apps and drive apps. And they're being told to drive on Hammonds Plains Road, not on Highway 103. And it's really interesting how many people are coming up from, the downtown area or the Bedford area or whatever, and they're not taking Highway 103 to get to Bridgewater. They're using Hammonds Plains Road. And so that data is available right now within our engineering team. They and our planning development team, they have all that information about what that background traffic actually looks like. So on top of this, we know that with Sandy Lake coming on board as a special planning area, that Uplands Park wastewater treatment facility will be decommissioned. When that happens, the entire roadway where those pipes are right now and the lateral lines, it's all going to be ripped up. And so Hammonds Plains Road, at that point in time, we should be envisioning a new intersection at Larry Butek, looking at widening the road, all of these kinds of things in order to increase traffic flow, to increase pedestrian safety. But because it's been such a piecemeal work over the last 12 to 15 years, we haven't had an opportunity to sit down with community and really plan out where those pressure points are, how to alleviate them, and what this road should look like in the future, knowing that it should be a strategic a piece of strategic road network, but it's not in the integrated mobility plan. It's not even mentioned. So I think now is the time to bring all those pieces and all that work that is happening in silos and bring it all together to get a functional plan in place. And people have asked me, well, what about Highway 113? And, I continue to tell folks that is a provincial highway, it is a provincial project. It is not something that the municipality has any kind of authority over. So I'm looking forward to getting a better understanding of what is the cost to upgrade all those wooden cross culverts under the Hammonds Plains Road. When can that work be done? So I appreciate your support today to get this into the docket.
Thank you very much, Councillor Outfit.
Thank you, and I am happy definitely happy to support this. I second it and I'm in favor of it. Theo Angela has mentioned that and I think what she's saying is that if this does require MPS amendments and whatnot, it may have to go to full council. My thinking on this is that Councillor Lovelace is looking for a staff report right now on the process rather, and I think I don't know if she talked to staff or not about any kind of possibly putting a timeline on this or not. So if she wants to speak again to that. This actually very past weekend, I was tagged on several people wanting to know the status of the 113, what the plan is for the Hammonds Plains Road and whatnot. So it's very timely. And I don't know if the councillor knows this or not, but I heard about this accidentally through Halifax Water, where I think you're going to see in the very near future a day or two of traffic being set down Yankeetown Road while they have to do some significant repairs. So you're on the right track that we need to have this plan. But anyway, so I'll support this. I'm just wondering if the councillor had talked at all about a timeline, and if I don't know if Theo wants to chime in this or not, but I think the initial staff report on this could come back to us, whereas full council might have to be involved down the road when you talk about Schedule J's and things.
I see Thea has popped up here, so maybe we'll ask her to respond to that.
Good evening, Madam Chair. Thank you, and members of Northwest Community Council. And I'm going from kind of experience over time in terms of how we've been able to manage these types of motions where there are multiple
Mhm.
departments that might be captured kind of under the one motion. So I think, and that's kind of where I think Megan was coming from our solicitor side, is you can make the motion, request the staff report. We may have to break it down in components for you. I noticed like for example, the first one, which was Schedule J, that is definitely something that is linked back to municipal planning strategies and policies that would be under the jurisdiction of regional. But again, that can be broken down for you in the staff report as to which options would need to be explored and which paths. And some of them may just be pieces that we can provide you updates on culverts and whatnot. So, yeah.
So that's twice lately I've been right, Thea. Is that what you're saying? The other day in regional council and then tonight?
I think so, Councillor.
I love tormenting you, Thea. I know. Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Lovelace.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Thea, for that. And, that's why this is such a comprehensive motion. Rather than having 8 different motions, getting everything into one so that we have a clear vision. Once we get that staff report back with updates on each of these items, we'll have a better understanding of moving forward. And from a timeline perspective, it's very difficult to say. We've just been sidelined by the province with Bill 329. And they know that the Schedule J is in place. And so if Schedule J is lifted by the province intentionally without input, that kind of changes how we go about building in Hammonds Plains and St. Margaret's, at Beaverbank as well. So, and I did certainly have a great chat with Councillor Blackburn because we share that really, really important corridor of Lucasville Road, and being able to upgrade the infrastructure there and rethink how we connect people through Sackville, Dartmouth, Hammonds Plains, and so on is really important. And I think too, this is timely because of Bill 329. If we thought we saw the Wild West in the last decade of growth, and even the last 3 years of growth in District 13, I think that the floodgates are open at this point in time, especially if Schedule J is lifted. That being said, it could be lifted very strategically to provide community connector roads that are needed for life, safety, protection, property, and persons, and so on and so forth. So I don't know the timing on this, but I have spoken with Peter Duncan. I've spoken with Mike. We've had great conversations, and for 2 years, I said, now. And now this is it. So I think we've got all the pieces in place to build this puzzle, which is how do we deal with the transportation network that is Hammonds Plains Road, and build this and grow this for the future, for today, but also for the future community.
Thank you, Councillor Lovelace. Councillor Otates.
Just very quickly, and through you, Madam Chair, to the councillor, if she could come back in a minute. Has these discussions included what I'll call my end of the Hammonds Plains Road as well, where Paper Mill could very well impact the just below Paper Mill if that were to come on stream down by the Bedford Academy, where there's significant development has been approved for quite a long time and never acted on. Councillor Thea would know all about this, the Paper Mill CCTD. And then, of course, you mentioned earlier, Councillor, the Sandy Lake area and Blue Water, which, while they're in my district, are on Hammonds Plains Road and certainly are about to receive a significant amount of growth as well. So I'm just wondering, you envision this being a top to bottom of Hammonds Plains Road from Bedford Highway right to 103?
I do. In fact, this is timely because we actually own the road now. We own the whole road, finally. So now is the time to take over full ownership of it and build a vision for the future.
All right, has my complete support. Thank you.
So I have a few questions. And so one of them is, so the way that the motion is in the chat now, it is written as a friendly amendment, not as 2 separate motions. With the taking out, it being asking recommendation of regional council to direct the CAO, who then does this report come back to? Does it come back to Northwest Community Council, or will this report come back to regional council? And so in that change to the motion, does it then change the direction of where the staff report comes back to? So maybe Megan, that would be a question for you, or Thea, I'm not sure, but.
Yes, so my understanding of the refinement of the request is made is that community council is essentially requesting an information report to formulate a recommendation to council if needed. Is that correct?
Councillor Lovelace, is that meet your objective?
So that's what we need, right? So I just need all the different staff and business units involved in this motion to come together to provide Northwest Community Council with a way forward that obviously is going to go. It's the regional council who is the body that's going to determine budget, right? It's going to
Yes.
determine direction. So that is my understanding. And as it's written right now, it's fine. Unfortunately, I was sidelined by the clerk's office that felt that it, just needed to change the wording to regional council. So I'm glad that we figured that out and
Okay.
we can move forward.
All right then. So the motion that is written in the chat now is that Northwest Community Council requests a staff report outlining and prioritizing the steps needed to initiate the planning and consultation process to develop a functional plan for Hammonds Plains Road. The report should consider the following, and all of that is unchanged from the original motion. So if that satisfies everyone, I would ask for a call for the question.
Question.
Good question.
Councilor Lovelace, did you have a comment there?
Both called for the question.
Oh, okay, excellent. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
I
Opposed, nay. Motion is carried.
thank you, colleague. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for procedurally working through that. That was awesome. Making sure that we just do that correctly. We're now on item 15 of our agenda. Motions, there are none. In camera, in private, there is none. There are no added items. Notices of motion. Any notices of motion, councilors?
No.
No, none. Date of our next meeting is November 20th, 2023. So I now ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Motion to adjourn.
Thank you very much, Councillor Lovelace. Thank you, everyone, for being with us. Katie,